Hey there, everyone. It's Rob Ryder, and today, Esquire Evil Exposed. Notice the Lord rebukes you, so you need to forgive and repent to be forgiven. I don't know if Esquires know that or not. I don't know how evil they are, if they're just evil possessed, evil controlled, evil what, but your profession is evil, or it's run evilly. And to say otherwise would be a lie, and I'm going to prove it to you. And then you can try to explain it however you want to somebody else, but the truth is the truth. And, well, I'll show you documentary evidence to back up what I say, and you show me documentary evidence to back up what you say. But you can't do it. So anyways, lest you forget, in the red, in the King James Version of the Bible, that would be where Jesus himself is speaking, not what others said he said, but what Jesus said himself. And he said, "Woe unto you also, ye lawyers, for you laid men with burdens grievous to be borne, and ye yourselves touch not the burdens with one of your fingers." But he wasn't quite done. He went on in Luke 11:52 to say, "Woe to you, lawyers, for you have taken away the key of knowledge, and entered not in yourselves, and them that were entering in ye hindered." So you've been double owed by Jesus himself. And I'm just here to try to help you, man. It's time to forgive and repent. Can't do it anymore. We need to move on from this demonic system that you're participating in. And, right now you're standing in the way. So either you repent, get forgiven, or I'm going to ask the army to come. Just remove your ass. That's the other option as well. You can be found an enemy of the United States and have to suffer the consequences. So I am a witness for the United States. I'm Staff Sergeant Robert Allen Verlewski, United States Army veteran, a.k.a. Rob Ryder. My email address is courtofrecord@aol.com. Phone number 616-712-6179. And if you can help to keep the lights on, please send a donation to PayPal or to my mailing address, 10955 14 Mile Road Northeast, Rockford, Michigan, 49341. Make sure you spell the name right. They sometimes make a big deal about that. And, hey, if you're an Esquire who watches this video, so here's, first of all, anybody who watches this video, just find a bunch of attorneys' email addresses and send them a link and say, hey, you need to watch this video, right? And hopefully that happens. Now, I got some Esquires watching who, right away are offended by what I said, but I'm not blaming you. I'm blaming the system that you're a part of, right? You can leave that anytime you want to. You're not anybody's slave. You can just say, I'm not doing this shit anymore. But the system has you doing people wrong. And, that in itself is wrong. That's the first commandment of Jesus. Well, second commandment. Honor thy father with all thy heart, mind, and soul, and treat my brother like myself. Well, you ain't doing that today in court. And so what I'm going to show is just one court case with a number of documents in, not that many. You can look at some of these cases. They got hundreds of documents in. I mean, this is the thing. People get paid by the hour to do this shit, so they run it out. Right? That's the first evil. So a lot of omissions and records and so forth because of all this paper that's being created that really isn't a legal process. It's just simulating one. And the case I'm going to show happens to be a military person asking for back pay. So to all veterans listening, hey, this would have something to do with you or people in the military that will soon be veterans, right? So you should pay attention. This is what attorneys do to you when you go to court. And they should not get away with it, man. They got to be called on this bullshit. So the only way to do it is to make sure that they know the truth, right? That's the first thing, because until then, they can say that they didn't know. I wish I had gone and found that section of the Bible where Jesus says that he had to go tell the Pharisees, because before that, they could have said that they didn't know. Of course, he didn't say it like that. That's me paraphrasing, but you get the idea. You go tell them the truth, show them the evidence, and now their conscience is going to be, from there on, will be judged by God. And that's the best we can do, because I'm not here to judge an Esquire. I'm here to prosecute his ass. I'm going to let God do the judging. Okay, so let's go look at, this, that, and the other thing. There's a lot of little pieces to this story, and that's really all it is, a little bit of a story today. So hang on a minute. Okay, so I mean, here recently in the last week, I had done 4 videos, and during that time, you know, there wasn't much else I could do besides videos, getting ready for them, finding the information, putting them together, blah 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 blah. So I got behind on my emails and on people calling me, and one of the calls I got in between that time was a guy telling me that I needed to take my military pay case to the United States Court for Federal Claims, and blah blah blah, went on and so forth. So I never did call him back, but I did go and look at that, and so I'm going to look at that at a court case I found in there because it's very telling about the stuff that's happening in a court case. But beyond that, in these videos I did this one for Trump. Affidavits are not evidence, right? Testimony is. And attorneys, right? If you tell somebody to put in an affidavit, like they did, all these Trump's attorneys told their, you know, all these election people to put in affidavits. Well, an affidavit is an oath, but it's not testimony. It's not evidence. And I hope you know the difference, right? It's not evidence. So everybody put in an oath, but they didn't put in evidence. Well, they didn't put in full proof evidence or self-authenticating evidence. Is probably a better, proper term from Federal Rules of Evidence, Rule 902, right? Self-authenticating evidence, things that are evidence that don't need anything else to prove that they're evidence. And, you know, one of those is an official record. So technically what you're supposed to do is put in a sworn statement that has an affidavit in it, but it's not an affidavit. It's a fucking sworn statement. And it should be done by deposition. Well, it has to be done by deposition because with an affidavit, when you go to a notary and have an affidavit done, they give it to you, you go put it in the court. Well, that's the wrong window. When you do a deposition, they take it and they give it to the court, right? The deposer does. And so that would be, you know, a sworn statement done that way would be you having yourself deposed as a witness for testimony. So that's something we should be using for ourselves. But what I'm saying is in Trump's case, all these attorneys, all these high-dollar attorneys been trying to help everybody, blah, 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 on TV all the time with bullshit. The fuckers are putting in the wrong kind of paperwork. Now, that's just one thing that's wrong. There's boundless things done wrong if we would just look from one document to the other and say, well, how come this is different on this one than that one? Those kind of things, right? So, you know, there's no rule that they can ever say, well, this is why we could do this. This is my point. The paperwork they do always has errors or omissions in it. And an omission is a sin if you forgot, right? So if there's any Catholic attorneys out there, you should listen to me, brother. An omission is a sin. Right? So you need to go check your conscience a bit. Okay, and then United States has SCOTA standing, not state of Texas. This is where the state of Texas, they went as the thing called state of Texas to file a claim against this election fraud and da-da-da-da. And the Supreme Court said they had no standing. State of Texas has no standing. And the Supreme Court is absolutely correct. Texas has standing. Texas, 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 not state of Texas. The name state of Texas was actually used during the Civil War when Texas was part of the Confederacy. So they don't have any fucking standing in SCOTUS. They should be arrested. You know, so da-da-da-da, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things that are just done wrong, that are blatantly done wrong by attorneys. They never get called on it. And so I'm calling out the Army to go, you know, ask them some questions and find out why they're doing this. And so I'm going to show you a bunch of telltales, you know, beyond this little blah blah I'm giving you. Now let's go look at some evidence. All right, hang on. Okay, so I got a lot of, I don't know, extraneous facts, you know, little pieces from here and there. I just like to put in the video because they're meaningful and they need to be seen, right? These are the symbolisms that we're dealing with. So these are gold fringe flags with the eagles on them in the Supreme Court, right? Supreme Court of the United States, apparently. That's what they say. Okay, so the fennel, then the flagstaff head. The flagstaff head is a decorative ornament at the top of a flagstaff. This does not restrict the display of a state flag from a staff bearing a state device when a national or other state flags are displayed from adjacent flagstaffs. However, the Army does not provide such devices. Only the following finials are authorized on a flag used by Army organizations. And one is an eagle, right? A presidential flagstaff. Oh, how come I did that? Oh, hang on a second here. Okay, so there's flagstaff. Now, the eagle doesn't look quite the same, but there's an eagle, so I'm saying that's a presidential flagstaff. So why is the president's flagstaff flying on a flag in the Supreme Court? Unless the president's there as the commander-in-chief and we're under martial law and he's in charge of everything. Which, as it turns out, when you go and read the... let's do that real quick. Supreme Court rules, right, come from this page. And Rule 45 says all process in this court issues in the name of the President of the United States. All right, well, the place saying that is a place flying a gold fringe flag. That, according to Army regulations, well, that's flag that goes on our presidents. You know, there's only three things that you can put on. You can put an eagle, or no, four. A spearhead, an acorn, or a ball. All right, here's your other three choices. Well, none of those are on top of that flag. So either it's this eagle or it's a counterfeit. I'll let, the President of the United States decide what that is. What I'm saying is if that's supposed to be Trump, then he's the Supreme Court. And these other people are, they're just, right? So the Supreme Court would be going through those flags behind the red curtain, right? There's Oz. Go through the curtain. That's where the real court is. These people here are all gatekeepers, keeping you out from the fucking doorways into the United States. All right? This is the territorial boundary of the United States. But it's past that, and we're on the wrong side of it. And between us and them are a bunch of fucking Esquires. All right, that's what we're dealing with. Every court you go to has got the same situation. You got a bunch of Esquires sitting there. An Esquire sitting here saying they're representing you, but when I show you the paperwork, you're going to say, well, they're not representing me. They're fucking me. Right? Criminally. So, okay, now let's keep going. Hang on a second. Okay, so just really quickly, in those same rules, and in Rule 40, in the court where the President of the United States, all process issues out in his name, right, in that court, well, veterans suing under any provision of law exempting veterans from the payment of fees or court costs may proceed without prepayment of fees or court costs or furnishing security, therefore, and may file a motion for leave to proceed on papers prepared as required by Rule 33.2. Well, how do I do that, attorney? Right? That says I can do that, and, but no one will tell me. What's the secret? All right, I want to file as a veteran into the Supreme Court because I can under that rule, right? Which basically says you write it as basically paragraphs. Double space what you're saying and single space and indent whatever you're quoting. Pretty simple process. Right? But I don't want to get a writ of certiorari. Right? This is a copy of a petition for right of certiorari or other substantive document. Well, I have other things I want to complain about. And if that court has gold fringe flags, then it's a military court, and I want to complain about my property being withheld by the military as a veteran, right, under the UCMJ, which if I was in the Army, I wouldn't have to pay. I'd just go ahead and file it. There's no cost to file a claim if you're claiming that your property was stolen or damaged. Happens all the time. It's just people don't go there and say, hey, you owe me my back pay. Or, you never discharged me, or whatever the thing is. And at the end of the day, veterans, if you didn't know this, I'm sure most of you do, your DD-214, it's not an administrative discharge order, right? You're not discharged at all by a DD-214. And in fact, my DD-214 has so many errors in it, it's not even a DD-214. It's just on a DD-214 document. But I didn't sign it, and I didn't have dental done, and the administrative regulation that they quote that, I'm supposed to be discharged under, it didn't give me the documents I should have gotten by that, which is a properly done DD-214, a discharge certificate, and an order. Right? Well, I didn't get those things. And I should have got separation pay. Didn't get that either. So, technically, as far as I'm concerned, I was never discharged from the military. And as it turns out, they can keep you in. It's for as long as they want. I think it's 10 U.S.C. 506 if you're enlisted. 6 months after the war ends, they can keep you till. And, well, we're always at war. We're at war again right now. So it's all true, right? So it's very easy for us to all still be in the military. And we're being carried on this missing status. And our pay is going into some account. Not that we're really due the pay, because, as far as we're concerned, we're out of the military. But somebody's taking that pay that's due us, because it's in our name, puts it in an account, they live off the interest. Now, I've shown before that there's a military retirement fund that has like $1 trillion in it, right? That's all retirement pay that hasn't been paid to somebody. Because every year, Congress gives more money than's required to pay that year's military retirement. You have to have a fund with $1 trillion in it. So what does that mean? It's just really this is simple. Most people aren't getting their retirement pay. Because technically, when you turn 60, if you ever served, you have retirement coming. Right? Now, they'll never say these things, but I've shown it in videos. You can go read it in the law, but you can't get them to do it. So I have lots of reasons to want to file a claim under Rule 40. And if some attorney wants to help me do it and set the world free, then, so be it. Let's get her done. Just give me a call. But we're just getting started. Hang on a second. Okay, so unauthorized use of official flags, guidons, and streamers. There is no law that permits the sale, loan, or donation of flags or guidons or streamers to individuals or organizations not in military service, except as indicated in 1 and 2 below. Display or use of flags, guidons, and streamers, or replicas thereof, including those presently or formerly carried by U.S. Army units by other than the office, individual organizations for which is authorized, is prohibited except as indicated in number 3. So, basically, who can show the United States flag? Just, the flag you see on flagpoles. Well, outside of military service, educational institutions and retired generals. Right? They're the only ones that can. And then any time that it's some Army organization, distinguishing flag, so forth and so on. But, it's not for civilian use. So any place you see it, it's military. So the fact that it's in a courtroom makes the courtroom military. Right? And that's clearly pointed out in Chapter 2, where it talks about... where are you at? Right here. That the flag for indoor display, which is the one that has gold yellow fringe, 2.5 inches long or wide, right? The places it can be flown, and one is military courtrooms, but nowhere in here does it say civilian courtrooms. Doesn't say district courts or circuit courts or courts of the state or any place else. It just says military courtrooms, U.S. Army elements, military offices. Right? So that's the flag of the United States. It's the symbol of our nation. And so if it's flying in a courtroom, then that's a military court. So what's going on, Army? I want to know what is going on. That puts you in charge. You're supposed to be in charge of the land. And, my opinion is we're under martial law since 1861 when Lincoln first declared it. And then he wrote the Lieber Code. And the conditions to get out of martial law have never been met. Right? Article 2 of the Lieber Code. We either need to have a special proclamation from the Commander-in-Chief or a peace treaty. And neither of those happened after the Civil War or any other war. So, attorneys, I'm pointing it out. There's got some problems. Can't you do something about this? You're supposed to be the ones learned in the law. Okay, hang on again. Just so I can say I showed it, right? General Order number 100, the Lieber Code, instructions for the government of armies of the United States in the field. All right, so this was an order given to the Army and said, here's your orders. And the Army's going to say, well, until these, until A, B, and C are done, we're still in charge. Because it says in Article 2, martial law does not cease during the hostile occupation, except by special proclamation ordered by the Commander-in-Chief or special mention in a treaty of peace concluding the war. The war between the states never ended. And so, basically we're being governed by this, and whatever this spawned, that's been convoluted into the thing we're seeing now, or whatever that was has just been overrun by a foreign power that's now impersonating the government. I'm not sure which one it is. Is it really the army there with the gold fringe flag saying that's our territory, or is that somebody's war trophy because the Esquires have won? But, you know, Esquires, the day the army wakes up, they're going to get kind of pissed off, and, you know, they may not like your fucking explanation. So let's look at some other things, right? Let's look at a passport real quick. Why is it on a passport? All right, it says United States of America. But on a $20 bill, or any of them, it says the United States of America. Where's the back one that shows it better? Right there. Right? The United States of America. The United States of America. That's where the money is. That's where the Federal Reserve is. That's whatever this represents is. Right? But all the people are in the United States of America. And, you know, that's our nation. Well, no, we're supposed to be in the United States, not United States of America. United States of America is King George III's successor's jurisdiction, which he claimed in the Treaty of Peace of 1783. So how did we end up there? All right, now this is the older style that I had. I didn't realize I had a newer style that doesn't even have this in there. But back in the day, it used to say the Secretary of State of the United States of America hereby requests all whom it may concern to permit the citizen, lowercase citizen, national of the United States, named herein to pass without delay or hindrance, and in case of need to give all lawful aid and protection. Now, I always thought that there should be a name in here right now, because, right, this page here with the picture on it, that's the cover of the book. That's not herein, that's here out. And this said named herein. Right, so either he'd be named on this page or the following pages, and there's no name in there. But I'm saying because we're not named there, that, you know, we were put in the wrong jurisdiction. So, you know, it's like somebody took the guts of the book and put it in the wrong fucking cover, right? And now we're in the United States of America, right? Some kind of scheme put us in the wrong jurisdiction. Because that isn't the same jurisdiction as the money. And, you know, if you were to look at a naturalization, certificate of naturalization, it says the United States of America on the top. And on the bottom, it says Department of Justice. So, you know, there's these certain entities that claim to be in the United States of America, but it's being claimed that we're not in the United States of America. And the United States of America is the thing that was created under the Articles of Confederation. The style of the Confederacy shall be the United States of America. Okay? That's the Confederation. But United States of America is a dominion claimed by King George III and his successors in the Treaty of Peace, 1783, and nobody disputed it, so it must be his. Right? So we've been shanghaied from one jurisdiction and put in another jurisdiction. And in the United States of America jurisdiction, you're not protected by the Constitution. It's a wrong fucking venue. And attorneys, you guys are part of this. There's just no saying you're not. It's the courts. You know, this is all done through the courts. You know, and almost all politicians now are esquires, and, you know, it's your freaking bar association bullshit that's got you buffaloed believing you got to do this stuff, but all you're doing is taking from your brother. You got to stop. Hang on. All right, just a couple more evidences. We'll get on to the court case evidence. So this is Donald J. Trump as President of the United States of America under a letters made to be made patent. So it's a patent. You got to keep that in mind. This is a patent. That Amy Coney Barrett of Indiana, blah, 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 blah. Well, now she's no longer a United States Circuit Judge. She's now on the Supreme Court. Right? But our government has three branches, right? We got the judicial branch, the executive branch, and the legislative branch. Well, there's no congressman, right, that are the legislative branch that get some kind of certificate from the Department of Justice. That's whose seal this is. It doesn't show up very good, but this is the Department of Justice seal. It's not even the United States seal, right? So she's not an officer of the United States because it's not an officer of the United States seal, right? She doesn't have that particular status. She's got status under the Department of Justice, which is the executive branch. So it's not an independent branch of government. Right? Why would the judges that make up the judicial branch of the federal government be commissioned by the executive branch? Unless they're actually just administrative judges, they're not judicial judges, and so they're not constitutional judges, under the Constitution. And in fact, they're not, because they're not taking the oath that satisfies the 6th article of the Constitution. Right, which is found in the first law passed by the first Congress after the ratification of the Constitution at 1 Stat 23, Statutes at Large, Session 1, very first law, where it says right in there that this is the oath that satisfies the 6th article of the Constitution. I, state your name, do solemnly swear to protect the Constitution. No, do solemnly swear to support the Constitution, not protect, support. Support. That's what the 6th article says. To take an oath to support the Constitution, and no religious test will ever be required. Well, the oath these people are taking, I don't have the judge's oath here, but I got Congress's oath, right? So the last Congress, when they sat, this is the oath they say they're taking, which comes out of 5 U.S.C. 101, or 5 U.S.C. 3331, excuse me. I state your name, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, blah, 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 so help me God. Well, when it has AB, you got to put your full legal name there, right? You can't use a nickname. I can't call myself Bob. I, Bob Rytlewski, do solemnly swear. No, that wouldn't work. Right? Well, then I can't put Robert A. Rytlewski, right? A for a middle initial. Or anything else like that. And so help me God is a religious test. It can't be used in a constitutionally valid oath. And so all these people pretending to be the Congress now, who start looking at their names, are using middle initials, middle initial, middle initial. I know that not everybody has a middle name, but by and large, these are all showing that they're using nicknames. Like, I don't believe this guy's name is Doug. His name is Douglas. Right? And does he have a middle name? Well, I don't know. But Eric A. Rick Crawford, that's not anybody's name. That is not his driver's license. What is your identity? You must identify yourself. And none of these people are. And so they really aren't the Congress. They're just imposters pretending to be the Congress. Well, after they got done pretending to be the Congress, they went and pretended to take another oath to get classified information. So now they're spies, getting state secrets. Anyways, I think that Trump will take advantage of this situation early next year. Right? If he was smart, Trump would go take his 2 oaths he needs to take. The one in Article 2, I've shown this many times before, where Roberts gave it to him incorrectly. Just go get the oath for Article 2 and watch Roberts give Trump the oath and say, well, that isn't right. He didn't say to say his name, and he didn't say to say, so help me God. And yet, there he is, right? Esquire Roberts telling Donald John Trump, I, Donald John Trump. And there's Donald John Trump, I, Donald John Trump. He's just doing what the guy said. So I don't blame Trump. He's not learned the law, but Roberts is. So him doing it was purposely done. That should be an act of treason. Well, it is an act of treason. Whenever the Army decides it's an act of treason, it will be an act of treason. So you people will be able to get ready to state your name and be correct. So all these are, simulated legal process. None of these people have an oath. Not a one of them. They're not the, Congress. And these people aren't judges in a constitutional form of government that has 3 separated branches, because their oath their certificate came from the Department of Justice, which is the executive branch. But it did say that these are being made patent, right? So, hey, as it turns out, there's a court that has something to do with patents. And that's one of the, well, it's the court we'll be looking at here in just a second. So let me get my papers together. Okay, so just so we all know, that I know, that you know, that you need to have one of these. Attorney, right? This happens to be from Michigan. Whereas for the role of attorneys, where every attorney has to have their name entered on the roll of attorneys. And so the man has his name entered as Dean Edward Rickberg. Right? Well, then Dean goes over to the local federal court, right? Western District of Michigan, because if you want to be a member of this bar, you got to be a member of the state bar. So, you know, but you have to still register with this court. So he goes and registers with the United States District Court for the Western District of Michigan as Dean Edward Rickberg. Right? Please let this letter serve as confirmation the attorney Dean Edward Rickberg was admitted to the United States District Court for the Western District of Michigan. All right, got a seal on it and everything. Okay, well then why is it when Dean Edward Rickberg goes into court and files papers, he does it as Dean E. Rickberg? I mean, he's not even doing it for him. He's doing it for the United States trustee, apparently another guy with a middle initial. Right? Although there is no signature up here because you're supposed to put the S, one line, or S with one hash, and then the name, full name. It's written somewhere to do it that way, but that isn't how this is done. So Dean Edward Rickberg is a liar. Right? He's a fork-tongued liar, pretending to represent something that doesn't exist in a court that doesn't exist because there is no for the in the name. And they got Linda A. Allen, Linda Ann Allen Bay, and Linda A. Allen, but none of those are really her name. Right? The debtor isn't her and her full legal name. They made all these other things the debtor. And then the plaintiff's United States trustee, well, it's not for the trustee. The trustee may represent the United States, but it isn't in his name that it should be done. It should be done in the name of the United States. He should be the attorney. All right, so I mean, this is all, well, it's fucked up, period. So hang on again. I just want to make sure we all understand, right, that these guys do use their full legal name, right? And after we see these papers, you won't see this again. They will never use their full legal name. The judge doesn't use his full legal name. The clerk doesn't use her full legal name. The attorneys aren't going to use their full legal name, right? But those are the names that are confirmed that they can practice in the court. So if they're not using that name, then how do I know that that's actually who it is? Okay. Okay, so this is the court that we'll be speaking about, or I'll be speaking about. It's the United States Court of Federal Claims. It's supposed to be the People's Court. And if you went on their website, you could find this little history book. Where did I find it? Is it in here somewhere? Home, court. About the court. Yeah, history, right? And you click that and you come up with this little booklet, which has all sorts of great things about it. Say, hey, this is, you know, looks like a place to be. It is as much a duty for the government to render prompt justice against itself in favor of citizens as it is to administer the same between private individuals. Abraham Lincoln. So the role of the United States Court of Federal Claims is integrally related to the fundamental principle of the United States Constitution that individuals have rights against the government. The court traces its origins directly back to 1855 when Congress established the United States Court of Claims to provide for the determination of private claims against the United States government. The legislation was signed into law on February 24, 1855 by President Franklin Pierce. Throughout its 160-year history, although it has undergone notable change in name and size, scope of jurisdiction, and procedures, its purpose has remained the same. In this court, the federal government stands as defendant and may be sued by citizens seeking monetary redress. All right, so who is it that stands? The federal government stands as the defendant. Federal government. For this reason, the court has been referred to as keeper of the nation's conscience in the people's court. As originally created in 1855, the court lacked essential judicial power to render final judgments. This oversight was resolved by President Lincoln. Anyway, so this has a lot of things that it could be good for if it was being done properly. All right, so if we could get this court to do it properly, then this would be the court to go to get a lot of issues cleared up. But they're not doing it properly, right? The general jurisdiction of this court, described in 28 U.S.C. 1491, is over claims for just compensation from the taking of private property, refund of government federal taxes, military and civilian pay and allowances, and damages for breach of contract with the government. So let me stop right now. So if anybody who understands how to use, is it LexisNexis or NexisLexis? I don't know, Westlaw, one of these things. How would you go into this court and find a case where the plaintiff won? Right? Can you find where the plaintiff won so we can find an example of how it was done properly to win? Right? Because all I ever see is that, the people that put in, they lose. I'm not finding the winners, but I don't have all day to look. So I like to find one where somebody won, and instead of me trying to recreate the wheel, I'll just do what they did. But I'm going to show you these little traps and tricks they put in the system that it blows you away to say, well, why would somebody do this to somebody else? What's wrong with me having mine if it's mine? Well, it's them attorneys, right? They took away the keys of knowledge. And they put big burdens on us, and they don't do anything to help us. So let's look at some things. Okay, so I'm not even going to get into the law about what's going on, or even really that much about what the guy's concern was. That isn't my issue, right? That's whatever the substance of the document is. My issue is all the things that are never consistently done or are just plainly different on one form than the rest. It's like, well, this isn't the same anywhere. Right? Now, why would this be? Why is it we have to do this? And so I need an attorney to tell me, how come there's all these differences that I'm about to point out to you? Starting with, so this would have been the initial document for this guy's court case, right? Which is under back pay, B-A-C-K, back pay for military. It's one of the, I'll show you soon, all the different styles of cases that you could have, but that's what it was for. That's really what I was looking for, is a back pay case, because, that's what I'm trying to get. I say they owe me back pay. So here's the thing, right? This was done by an attorney for a major U.S. Air Force retired. His name James Harvey Wilkerson III. Right? But they made this whole thing the plaintiff, right? It isn't that this man showed up in his proper person, James Harvey Wilkerson III. They created a thing by putting this addition, Major U.S. Air Force retired, after his name and calling it the plaintiff. Right? So this isn't the name on your driver's license. It's misidentification of the plaintiff. So basically, this attorney who wrote this for this major stole his identity. Right? Because they took his identity and turned it into a thing. And then they said the plaintiff is United States of America. Well, as we'll see, they don't always say that. And that isn't who this is supposed to be. The defendant is supposed to be the government of the United States. So, United States government of the United States, the United States of America. What's it supposed to be? And so here's a case number, right? Different style case number. 19-2018C. Well, how did it become 1-19CV02018 EMR? So, and the name of the court isn't in the. There's no court named in the. It's United States Court of Federal Claims. Right? United States Court of Federal Claims. It's what's on its seal. It doesn't have in the on here. I mean, I'm sure somebody thinks they're just slick as hell that they, could scheme this blatantly and get away with it, but it's just a scheme, man. That isn't the name of the court. So from the very beginning, this isn't going into the, United States Court of Federal Claims. They're just pretending to. Okay, and then from there on, the plaintiff now is just Major Wilkerson, plaintiff, right? Well, no, I thought this was the name of the plaintiff. right? Either this is the name or this is the name, but they can't both be the name, yet they're both on here. United States Air Force. I really didn't want to get into the guy's issue that much. It isn't why I was here, but this is the reason they said he had jurisdiction. The court does, which is, okay, under the Tucker Act. And that the plaintiff, under his proper name, raises the claims under the U.S. Constitution. Should be Constitution of the United States, probably, federal statutes. These are the things you have to do to, prove jurisdiction, which, bing, bing, bing. Apparently those were okay. All right. Major Wilkinson is a citizen of the United States of America. Well, I just showed you what a passport looks like. United States of America, that's King George's jurisdiction. No, he's a citizen of the United States. That's what the Constitution says. The Constitution doesn't say anything about United States of America. It only says citizen of the United States. All right, that's your choice. Two ways you see the word citizen used in the Constitution, either by itself or with citizen of the United States, but never citizen of the United States of America. Defendant is the United States of America. Well, then this is in the wrong, this is in the wrong venue because this is supposed to be in the United States. Legal claims, the decision of the Air Force may show cause for retention was made in direct response to congressional pressure in violation of. Okay. Apparently the major knows something somebody doesn't want him to be aware of, or punishing him for it. Relief requested. Okay. Anyways, but here we are. Now here's the attorney that put him in, right? A guy using a middle initial name. Raymond J. Toney, attorney and counselor at law. Well, that style of name isn't going to be found on the roll of attorneys or on a certificate of good standing or in the papers that he had to file for this court. In fact, let's take a look at that. That's right in the rules. Instructions for admission by verified application, right? This is how somebody can become an attorney. The petitioner, right, they have to put their name in here. Please print type your full name on the above line. All right, well, that wouldn't be Robert A. Ritlewski. It'd be Robert Allen Ritlewski. All right, so if you had to put it there, well, then you would have to believe you're putting it here also. So did he put a middle initial name in there? Right? Did he put Raymond J? Or did he put his full legal name? I'll show you where he does use his full legal name, so it's not like it doesn't exist. He just didn't use it on that form. Didn't put it on the complaint. And, another thing is that the complaint hasn't been verified. Right? This should have been, whatever this complaint was, should have been signed by the plaintiff, not by the attorney. So this attorney is not giving him legal advice. He's pretending to be him. Right? Like you gave him power of attorney. Here, go be me and sign for me. So that's what this guy's doing. He's not giving him legal advice at all. He's just pretending to be the major under a fictitious name. Okay, so then here we go. Well, again, we're not in the right court. All right, here it is, 2018 C, but they've changed it again to this other one. Now the attorney's using his full legal name, Raymond Jewell Toney. Law firm, Raymond J. Toney. Well, then what do you think he put on this document? Right? The thing is, there's a copy of this for him in the court, Major. You could go look it up because I think he got malpractice going on at least. Because, this is what the guy had to put in. And somebody, right, state your name. I don't think you can use a middle initial. I think you'd have to use the name on your driver's license. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and I will conduct myself in an upright manner as an attorney of this court. Now, I'm not leaving that decision to tell me if that name needs to be one way or the other to an attorney. I'm leaving it to the Army to tell me what name needs to be in there. All right? Army, do they need to put their full legal name or can they use a middle initial? Because the court's got gold fringe flags. They're your courts, so how do you want your people to recognize themselves. Okay, this is a cover sheet, petitioner or plaintiffs, right? They want you to put your names. So, would you be putting in your middle initial name or your full legal name, right? I'd be putting in my full legal name. I just quickly want to show a couple of these. These are the different natures of suits that you can put in. This particular one looking at was on military back pay. But, taking for personality, somebody stole your identity. Well, there you are, right? That's what's happened. The federal government has stolen your identity. And if you look at your taxes that come from the IRS, they come in your middle initial name. Right? They don't use your name on your taxes. Or they put your name and your wife together and they make this partnership. Like Robert Allen and Kimberly A., as it had been back in the day, where they don't even use both full legal names. They just, they make something up using parts of your name, and they want you to believe it's you, but it isn't you. It's a thing. You've been taken from a court of person where you should be, and you're put into a court of things. So, let's see what else we got going here. This is back to the court case again. So now, right, still got in the, and now the case number is as it was shown, at the top of, well, not even as shown as the top. Now, this is EMR and this is EGB. Did they change judges or what? Well, apparently that's what they're doing. Notice of assignment to that judge. So that's what they're doing. This guy is now taking over in that court case. But here now it's the United States, where before, right, he said it was the United States of America. But this is the court talking now, right? Because this is, coming from the clerk's office saying, no, it's the United States. The United States is requested to promptly file a written notification, blah, 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 blah. Clerk of court, right? With a little, who can read that? I mean, this is not a signature block. Anybody could have done this. Right? How do I know that that's the clerk of the court? There's no signature block saying that's the clerk. In fact, it doesn't even match the frickin' paperwork. Everything else is this style font, and we got this little frickin' stamp here. So, is it a simulated legal process attorney? What do you think? What do we got going here? Another one from the clerk's office within the. Right, again, we got this still says EMR, but she's saying it's EGB now, so the documents don't match up. The United States, this is the clerk speaking. No signature block. And then, they put a 1 behind the guy's name. Right now, you don't see all the rest of that stuff you saw in this first one, right, where they were calling him Major U.S. Well, that didn't show up on this one from the clerk, and it didn't show up on this one from the clerk. But she did put a 1 behind his name, and then put a fucking footnote that if the complaint in this section was originally received by the clerk's office, named as a plaintiff, a minor, an incompetent person, or a deceased person, the case caption has been modified to identify the plaintiffs, the representatives filing on behalf of the minor, incompetent, and deceased person. Well, then they changed it, right? Because they modified it. The case caption has been modified because it's no longer the way it was when it came in. I mean, what kind of shit is this? So basically, what they're doing, they turn a man into a thing, right? Because all of a sudden now he comes back again. Because these are all dated sequentially as they went in. This is 122. What date did this go in? 12/31. Right? So on 12/31, the clerk is saying, no, this is the name of the party, and this is the name of the defendant. And now, this is an attorney, supposedly for the United States, right, coming in and saying, no, this is the name. Now it's all of it's all caps. Using this number again, not, this number up here, which this is the number we're told to go look at, case 1-19 CV. That's how you find it on Pacer. But everybody else is using this number. Right, with an attorney using the middle initial, who's coming from the commercial litigation branch of the Civil Division of the United States Department of Justice. Ben Franklin Station. So why, in a military pay case, is the commercial litigation branch involved? Right, but he did say that he's the attorney for the United States. Just, the word United States. Not United States of America, not the United States. Every page is different. There's no signature block, so it's like, well, who did this? I don't see how they get away with this. Right? I mean, how can this be legal? You guys talk about your freaking standards and bullshit. You don't have no fucking standards. What do we got here? Oh, there we go again. Now our thing is back, and now it's the United States of America. Well, that would be the Articles of Confederation, Article 1 guy. Senior judge. What does this say? This says senior judge over here, too. No, this says just Judge Bergink. This one says Senior Judge Bergink, so is that somebody different? Defendant's unopposed motion for an enlargement of time. The defendant, now they say is the, and it's lowercase the, United States of America. But here it said it's the United States of America. Right? And now they're saying Major Retired Wilkerson. Right? That's how they're addressing him. So it's like they're all speaking different languages. It's a bunch of babble. So Army, here's the conspirators. All these are attorneys working on this project, hiding their true identity. You got a guy who's pretending to be a Captain Esquire for the litigation attorney, military personnel, litigation, Air Force, legal operations. Well, who's he representing? Of counsel for who? Because all these other people are, representing attorneys for the defendant. It's not right. Just not right. Okay, we're back to in the, right, with just the guy's name without all the additions, and now the United States is the defendant. And this is an order from a judge. So the court says, no, this is who we are. We're only dealing with this plaintiff, and this is the defendant. But, that isn't who these guys said they're representing. They said, no, we're representing this United States of America, and this is the plaintiff. What you got to tell me, Esquire? Can you show me in your rule book where you can do this? And it's the United States again. No, we're going to transfer it to somebody else. Okay, well, whatever. Let's just keep ringing around the rosy. No one will know what's going on. Yeah, notice the reassignment. Again, we just got clerk of court. Doesn't say what court. Doesn't have any kind of frickin' signature block down here. Just a scribble and clerk of court. I'm not buying it. All right. And right now we're down to plaintiff notice of voluntary dismissal. Right now the plaintiff is Mr. James H. Wilkerson III. Right, that isn't who opened the case. Right now this is his attorney again. It was James Harvey Wilkerson III. Now he's been reduced to a Mr. James H. Wilkerson. Through counsel, respectively notices the court defendant of his voluntary dismissal of this matter without prejudice. Did he really? Right now it's Raymond Jewell Tony. He's got his full legal name. Everything is full legal name, full legal name, full legal name. But that isn't how he put it in. Lest we forget, attorney, right? Apparently you're not doing it the same all the time. Why is that? Well, they don't have a good answer, I'm quite sure. But, for the rest of us, you can see what I'm talking about. This is just why you can't win in court. Right? There's nothing they won't do to keep you from getting remedy. And so they're either spies or they're esquires for the crown or whatever their excuse is, but it may take the army to straighten them out. So, okay, hang on again, please. Okay, so in conclusion, right, this could be the court where these things could be done, the United States Court for Federal Claims. Because of some of the things that this brochure says, I'm just going to read a couple real quick, and then, well, I'll be just about done. But I think that the problem we're going to find with all of these courts, no matter what the court is that we are never putting in testimony. We put a lot of paper in the clerk's window, but we're not putting in testimony. If you want to put in testimony, you need to go have it done by a court recorder because they need to put it in. And so this is like having yourself a self-deposition, which Rosita had sent me something from Ohio that said, you can do self-deposition. So I know it can be done. It's just, do they know it can be done? And so I had just this on Friday emailed a court recorder's office and asked them if they could do a deposition for an upcoming case in the Court of Federal Claims. And they said, yeah, they could, if we wanted to schedule something, I said, okay, well then can you do a sworn statement for them? Such as this Army form, and gave them the link and said, I want to have it as my testimony to file in the court. And they answered back, said, I'll have to get back to you on that. So apparently they've never been asked before. But if I'm going to put in my own testimony, right, I'm a witness to whatever it is I'm saying. This is the point, right? That the witness to this transaction or complaint didn't sign it. Right? Somebody pretending to be him signed it, so it's just hearsay. This isn't signed by the plaintiff. And so that's what we would do. So if you went and had yourself a deposition done, right, then the recorder would take it and they would send it to the court. And that's, going in a different window than you taking a affidavit, having it done by a notary, and you put it into the clerk's window. Right? It's a different level of evidence. One is hearsay, basically has no value, and the other is foolproof evidence or self-authenticating evidence, and it has all the value. If you put in self-authenticating evidence, then the only thing that can top it is self-authenticating evidence. But the other side is never putting in evidence either. And it's, because we're not really doing the court case right in the first place, well, it's all just a simulated legal process. They're just pretending to give you a day in court. And, the ones doing it are attorneys. That's all. They're the only ones who can be blamed are attorneys. They're sitting at the bench and they're sitting in the freaking chairs acting as counsel. But in 1887, Congress passed the Tucker Act, which significantly expanded the court's jurisdiction to include all claims against the government except tort, equitable, and admiralty claims. The court thus today has nationwide jurisdiction over most suits for monetary claims against the government and sits without a jury to determine issues of law and fact. Right? So they can determine issues of law and fact. So they can judge your evidence. A unique aspect of the court's jurisdiction through its history has been authority to act on Congress reference of legislative proposals for compensation of individual claims. So what this is saying is, if you could go to your congressman and get them to give you a private bill and have it referenced, have that legislative proposal sent to the court as a congressional reference and let them figure it out. Because they do have masters, right? They have these special masters that are able to, inquire into all sorts of things. Right? They would, the court's original composition of 3 judges was expanded to 5. They would consider evidence proffered by claimants and weigh testimony taken by permanent or special commissioners employed by the court who were dispersed throughout the United States. Well, that's what we need to find, right? Who are these people? Who are these special commissioners employed by the court? I just say they're court recorders. And, if you want to have a deposition done, even at your local court, you're supposed to contact the court because, they have people, authorized to do depositions. It's just which one's going to let you do your own deposition, make your own sworn statement. So I'm going to do some more research on the court itself, but after looking at the first case I looked at, I was quite disappointed to say it just never ends. You can't find a court anywhere where they're doing it by the book. And I can't believe all these people that are attorneys are that evil in their heart. They may have been compromised and gone along with the show, but when push comes to shove, do you want to be ruled by the Chinese, or do you like it in the United States? Because there's going to be something happen in the next 30 days, right? Today's the 20th. By January 20th, we'll either be under martial law or have a new president. So, okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for listening, and please go tell an attorney. Thank you.